Hello everyone, and welcome to my TechEd session on how to migrate from the BDP Neo environment to the BDP Multi-Cloud Foundation. My name is Christian Fecht. I'm a Chief Product Owner of SAP BDP Neo, and I have been working on Neo since its very first days at the beginning of 2010. This session is for you. Please feel free to already post your questions. I will answer them at the end of the session in a Q&A part of the session. You might ask yourself why we have this session at all. Why do we talk today about moving off Neo? The answer is easy, because in summer this year SAP announced that it will sunset the SAP Neo environment at the end of 2028. And SAP also asked customers and partners to move from BDP Neo to the BDP Multi-Cloud Foundation by the end of 2028. In this session, I'm going to explain to you what does it mean for you, what are your options, where you can find help, why 28, and why at all did SAP decide to sunset Neo. Let me start with the last part about sunsetting Neo. To understand the why, it's good to have a brief look at the history of what is called today BDP. It started back in 2010 when we started the implementation of what is known as Neo today. So it's more than 13-year-old. It was delivered to the market in 2012 under the name of NetWeaver Cloud. And as many of you know, the product has undergone a lot of rebrandings from NetWeaver Cloud to SAP HANA Cloud Platform, to SAP Cloud Platform, and finally to BDP. And all these rebrandings were triggered by new capabilities. So for example, in 2016, we added the Cloud Foundry environment. But maybe before I start talking about Cloud Foundry, let me quickly explain what Neo is. So Neo is SAP's first cloud platform product. It's only available in SAP data centers, and it's kind of optimized to run on SAP infrastructure. In 2016, we added Cloud Foundry, the Cloud Foundry environment. We provided multi-cloud capabilities, so giving you as a customer the choice on the underlying infrastructure provider, and we provided support for additional runtimes. In 2020, we made multi-cloud the default for new customers. So if you are a new customer and you buy BDP, you don't get Neo anymore, you only get the BDP multi-cloud. Later on, we added the Kyma and the EBAP environments. And this year, we announced the end of life of Neo to be at the end of 28. Now, what is the reason that SAP decided to sunset Neo? Of course, you can say everything has a beginning, everything has an end. Neo will have 18 years in 28, so maybe it's okay to sunset it. But of course, there is a deeper reason. The reason is technology, consolidation, platform stack consolidation, because actually in BDP we have two platform stacks, Neo, a kind of proprietary platform stack, and the cloud-native BDP Multi-Cloud Foundation stack. And let me quickly bring you back to 2010, when we started Neo. At that time, there was not much available to us. There was no comprehensive open source PaaS implementation. There was no Cloud Foundry, no Docker, no Cloud Native, no Kubernetes. Of course, there were predecessors of some of these technologies at various degrees of maturity. But in the end, we had to create a proprietary implementation out of open source components. Later on, we saw rapid emergence of new technologies and new communities, specifically tailored to build cloud platforms and cloud services. I already mentioned them: Cloud Foundry, Kubernetes, Cloud Native, Docker, and so on. And we had to innovate our implementation by either adopting or by moving to these new state-of-the-art technologies and open source communities. Then there was another factor. What happened was there was the creation of the Cloud Foundry Foundation and of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. So there were open source communities which we could leverage, and this gave us additional motivation to move from our proprietary implementation to these state-of-the-art open source communities. And a third aspect was the rise of the hyperscalers, so AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and the increasing demand of customers to run on infrastructure providers of their choice. And all of this was not possible with Neo. So in the end, we created a new platform stack, initially on Cloud Foundry. Later on, we added support for Kubernetes via Kyma and Gardener. And SAP decided to sunset Neo so we can focus on exactly one platform stack instead of two platform stacks. Now let's talk about the 28, the sunset date. Why is it 28? Why do we announce this 5 years upfront? First of all, we want to give our customers clarity. We want to allow our customers a reliable planning. And we think that 5 years is a fair timeline. Customers and partners can plan and execute their migration from Neo to multi-cloud at their pace. Of course, we will continue to support and maintain the existing Neo services. We want to protect the investment of our customers. And we will not disrupt any existing usage of BDP Neo. We will also provide migration support by free assessments and by best practice documentation. But please keep in mind, Neo is legacy. It's not strategic, and there will be no innovation on Neo anymore. All our investments will go into availability, robustness, security, and security compliance. If you are after innovation, you have to go to BDP Multi-Cloud. That's anyway our strategic platform stack, and there you will see continued innovation. Multi-Cloud is already the default choice for new customers since 2020. It has a modern cloud-native architecture and implementation. It's very flexible when it comes to infrastructures, runtimes, environments. It comes with a huge set of services. And there is a continuous release of new features, innovation, and new services. And we have already recommended to our customers since years, use the BDP Multi-Cloud for all your new scenarios and consider migrating existing scenarios from BDP Neo to BDP Multi-Cloud. Now let's look at the options. In the end, there are two options. The recommended option is that you plan and execute your migration from BDP Neo to BDP Multi-Cloud. What's in for you? You get new innovation, you get industry standards like Kubernetes, you get a better regional coverage, you can choose your own infrastructure provider, you get a more flexible commercial model, including a free tier, and you are on the strategic cloud platform of SAP. The second option, of course, if you don't want or if you don't need to migrate your scenarios, maybe because you want to let them simply phase out over the next 5 years, you can simply stay on Neo. We will keep your solution up and running. We will maintain all Neo services till the very end of Neo. We will invest, as already said, in availability, security compliance, but there will be no new features anymore. So all changes will basically around security, robustness, and availability. And here on the right-hand side, you see a few links where you can find more information, like a link to the SAP Help Portal. There is a blog by Michael Ammeling. There is a SAP note on the end of life of Neo. And we also have an external FAQ. a customer-facing and a partner-facing FAQ where you find all needed information on the Neo end of life. Okay, now I have a demo. Yeah, it's not actually a demo. I want to show you a little bit how we can help you today. So I would recommend you to go to the SAP Help Portal to help.com. There is a central page on the migration from the Neo environment to the Multi-Cloud Foundation. You find there a lot of helpful information. I want to point out two aspects. One is we have migration experts. You can reach out to them simply by sending an email to sap.bdp.migration@sap.com. And then we try to help you. We will assess basically your usage. And we have, as already mentioned, a free assessment. Oh, sorry, I was a little bit too fast. I forgot to mention we also have migration packs for the most important services which help you to migrate from the Neo-based version of the service to the multi-cloud version. For example, we have here mobile services, we have cloud integration. There was already this morning a session on cloud integration of Neo. We have the HANA service and so on. Then we offer a free assessment, which you can get by, as said, sending a mail to sap.bdp@sap.com. And this assessment basically consists of 4 steps. We do a 1-hour kickoff meeting. We explain you our methodology. You have to give us access to your sub-accounts. We will do an analysis, what you use, which services you use, configuration. Based on this, we will develop a individual migration proposal and migration journey. We will review our proposal with you. That's the 3rd step. And in the 4th step, we offer you a couple of checkpoints to address migration-related questions. Let me go back to the presentation. Let me quickly summarize this. So the SAP BDP Neo environment will be sunset at the end of 2028. You need to migrate from BDP Neo to BDP Multi-Cloud by then. On the Multi-Cloud Foundation, you get the best available choice on infrastructure providers, runtimes, environments. All new features and innovations are only available on BDP Multi-Cloud. SAP will, of course, continue to invest into the security, availability, and compliance of Neo to protect your investment on Neo. And we will assist you in your migration journey from Neo to multi-cloud with the free assessment service and best practice documentation. And I have put here for your reference a couple of links together. And I think it's now about time to open the Q&A session.
Live Q&A.
Okay, so there is a question by Naveen. Do we have any changes to shared responsibility model when migrating from Neo to multi-cloud? I'm not sure I fully get the question. So what is the shared responsibility? First of all, it's important to understand that only the customer can migrate their scenarios from Neo to multi-cloud, because only the customer can basically test the end-to-end scenario. And if there are changes required, like URL changes, then the customer needs to be involved. What we, as of today, offer, we provide migration support at various levels. So we have the migration packs. We have also some services which provide a migration service. For example, there is the HANA migration service, which allows you to migrate from the HANA 2.0 on Neo to the HANA Cloud, SAP Strategic HANA database offering. But in the end, the responsibility, the doing for the migration is with the customer. Okay, then the second question, there is a cost comparison metric between Neo and Cloud Foundry in terms of services. So customer knows the cost of migrating the platform. I think here we have two aspects. One aspect is, of course, the cost of the actual migration. And the other aspect is a price comparison between the Okay, apparently this question has been answered. So there is a question about customized integration flows for SuccessFactors in Neo to on-prem ECC system. Will these custom iFlows be covered in the migration process, or will they need to be manually moved over? I think there I would recommend you to the session of Udo Palzer. I think it was in the morning, where Udo also talked about the Neo integration to SAP Integration Suite migration. I would like to recommend you to the migration pack for the integration service in Help SAP.com, where you should find all answers to your question. Okay, then a question by Almas. Okay, okay, there is a question by Almas. What are the different migration strategies available from Neo to BTP Cloud? Yeah, in the end, it's important to understand, in the end, it depends how you use Neo. So Neo consists of many services like mobile service, portal service, integration service. You can also run code like Java code. You can run JavaScript code as part of the XS Classic programming model. And if you migrate from service to service, then that's basically a service-specific migration. So for example, with the integration suite, we have, let's say, an old version of the product. It's called the SAP integration or Neo integration CPI. And you have to migrate from this, let's say, older version of the service on Neo to the new product version, which is called the SAP Integration Suite, which is part of BTP Multicloud. So a little bit depends on your usage, but this free assessment will give you a customized proposal and a customized individual migration journey. Then we have a question regarding its double costs or dual costs. Yeah, it's clear. If you migrate from Neo to multi-cloud, the migration will take time, and then you have double usage on Neo and also on multi-cloud. That's true. If this is a concern for you, I would recommend you to discuss this with your SAP account executive. I'm sure that we will find a way to help and ease your migration. The next question is, does migration assessment package also covers quota of CF services would be required after migration from Neo to Cloud Foundry? That's a good question. Honestly, I'm not sure. So I need to look at this after the session. We anyway want to provide the questions and the answers in a separate block. I suppose that the different quotas or the needed quota should be mentioned in the migration packs. So what is the next question? I see a question by Kanika. So if you use a product like IHG, who is taking care of user administration of Neo after migration, will any change need to be done at IHG? I would say most likely not, because users are anyway typically maintained in our sub-cloud identity service, especially in the identity authentication service, and this will not change. So I think I have answered so far all questions or tried to answer them. Okay, if there are no more questions, then again, thanks a lot for attending my session. And let's close the session here. Thanks and have a good day.